Louisville, Kentucky, 1977. The air was thick with anticipation as the yellow school buses pulled up to Jefferson County Middle School. The building, a weathered brick structure with American flags fluttering in the spring breeze, was abuzz with excitement. Muhammad Ali, the three-time heavyweight champion of the world and Louisville's proudest son, was returning to visit the children of his hometown. Inside classroom 12, 13-year-old Sophia Wilson fidgeted nervously at her desk. Unlike her classmates who wore their Sunday best for the special visitor, Sophia's faded blue dress had been washed so many times the color had almost disappeared. The holes in her sneakers were covered with duct tape, a temporary solution that had become permanent. Her father had lost his job at the factory 6 months ago, and her mother was working double shifts at the diner just to keep food on the table. If this story has already made you feel something, no matter how small, don't leave without giving back. Comment and tell me where you're watching this video from, and subscribe to the channel. The hallways erupted with cheers as Muhammad Ali's towering figure moved through the school. He stopped in each classroom, sharing stories of his journey from a poor neighborhood to becoming the most recognized face on the planet. When he finally entered classroom 12, the students gasped in collective awe, all except Sophia. As Ali began to speak about perseverance and believing in oneself, Sophia's hand shot up. Her teacher, Mrs. Reynolds, nodded reluctantly, already sensing trouble from the girl known for her sharp tongue, a defense mechanism built from years of being bullied for her poverty. "My daddy says you're nothing but a draft dodger who betrayed America," Sophia said loudly, her voice carrying an edge that silenced the room. "He says all your fancy words don't mean nothing when you turned your back on your country. Why should we listen to someone like you?" The classroom fell into shocked silence. Mrs. Reynolds' face paled as she rushed toward Sophia, apologies already forming on her lips. But Ali raised his hand, stopping the teacher in her tracks. Instead of anger, a gentle smile crossed his face as he looked directly at the defiant girl. Muhammad Ali approached Sophia's desk with slow, deliberate steps. The classroom remained in stunned silence, with several students covering their mouths in shock. Mrs. Reynolds stood frozen, mortified by her student's outburst, but Ali's expression showed no anger, no offense, only curiosity and compassion. "What's your name, little sister?" Ali asked, his voice softer than anyone expected from the man known for his boisterous proclamations in the boxing ring. Sophia," she answered, her defiance wavering slightly under his kind gaze. "Sophia," Ali repeated. "That's a beautiful name. It means wisdom." He pulled up a chair from a nearby desk and sat directly in front of her, bringing himself to her eye level. "You know, wisdom isn't just about having all the answers. Sometimes it's about asking the right questions." Ali noticed the worn condition of her clothes, the tape on her shoes, and the packed lunch on her desk, just a single peanut butter sandwich with no crusts. His eyes took in these details without judgment. "Your daddy has every right to his opinion about me," Ali continued. "Many people disagreed with my choice not to go to Vietnam. But let me ask you something. Do you know why I made that choice?" Sophia shook her head, her earlier bravado diminishing under Ali's genuine interest. "I refused to fight in a war I didn't believe in. I was willing to go to jail for my beliefs rather than compromise them. Sometimes standing up for what you believe is the hardest fight of all." Ali paused, studying her face. "Oh, it looks to me like you're fighting some pretty tough battles yourself." Sophia's eyes welled with tears. The classroom remained silent, every student and Mrs. Reynolds transfixed by the exchange. "My daddy lost his job," Sophia whispered, her voice cracking. "The kids here call me trash. They say I smell like the donation bin." Ali nodded thoughtfully. "You know what they used to call me in this very city? They called me names I won't repeat. Said I'd never amount to anything." He leaned closer. But here's something I want you to remember, Sophia. It's not what people call you that matters. It's what you answer to. The following morning, news cameras crowded the entrance of Jefferson County Middle School. Word had spread of Muhammad Ali's interaction with the young girl who had challenged him, but nobody knew what came next. Rumors circulated that Ali had been deeply moved by the encounter. Sophia arrived at school, shocked to find a crowd of reporters. As she tried to slip past them unnoticed, a sleek black car pulled up to the curb. The driver's door opened, and Muhammad Ali himself stepped out, holding several large shopping bags. "There she is," Ali called out, his famous smile brightening the morning. "There's my champion." Sophia froze as Ali approached her, cameras flashing all around them. But instead of feeling exposed, she felt protected by his towering presence. "I brought something for you and your family," Ali said, handing her one of the bags. Inside were groceries, fresh vegetables, fruits, bread, and other essentials. Another bag contained a new backpack, school supplies, and a pair of brand new sneakers. "This isn't charity," Ali said firmly, making sure the reporters and gathering students could hear. "This is an investment. I'm investing in a future champion." But what happened next truly shocked everyone. Ali pulled out a document and handed it to Sophia's mother, who had been called to the school. "This is a job offer from my friend who owns the Jackson manufacturing plant," Ali explained. "He's looking for a floor supervisor, and I told him your husband has exactly the experience he needs. The position comes with healthcare benefits and fair pay." Tears streamed down Mrs. Wilson's face as she clutched the paper. "Why would you do this for us, after what Sophia said?" Ali placed a gentle hand on Sophia's shoulder. "Your daughter did something most adults are afraid to do. She spoke her truth, even when it was difficult. That's courage. That's the same spirit that made me a champion." Turning to address the gathering crowd and cameras, Ali spoke with the same eloquence that had made him not just a boxer, but a cultural icon. "I came here to inspire these children, but this young lady inspired me. She reminded me that our greatest fights aren't in the ring, they're in our communities, against poverty, against judgment, against giving up when life knocks you down." 2 weeks later, Muhammad Ali returned to Jefferson County Middle School. This time, there was no media circus, no cameras, just Ali, fulfilling a promise he had made to Sophia and her classmates. The school gymnasium had been transformed into a temporary boxing clinic. Ali moved among the students, teaching them the basics of footwork and jabbing techniques. But more importantly, he spoke to them about the principles that guided his life: standing up for justice, maintaining dignity in the face of adversity, and believing in oneself when others doubt. Sophia, now wearing her new sneakers and a clean, well-fitting outfit, no longer hid in the back of the room. With her father employed again and her mother able to reduce her shifts at the diner, a newfound confidence had begun to emerge. During a break in the activities, Sophia approached Ali. "I'm sorry for what I said that day," she said quietly. Ali shook his head. "Never apologize for speaking your mind, little sister, but always be ready to listen and learn too. That's how we grow." "My daddy wants to apologize to you too," Sophia continued. "He said he was wrong about you. He said any man who would help a family he doesn't even know must have a good heart." Ali nodded. "Tell your daddy I'd like to meet him sometime. Not as Muhammad Ali the boxer, but as a neighbor who cares about his community." As the day concluded, Ali gathered the students for a final word. "I want to tell you all something important," he said, his usually boisterous voice now measured and thoughtful. "The measure of a champion isn't how many punches they throw, it's how many hands they lift up along the way." He looked directly at Sophia. "Sometimes the greatest victories come from our greatest challenges. Remember that." The story of Muhammad Ali and the girl who confronted him spread across America, featured in newspapers and television programs. It wasn't the first time Ali had shown compassion or generosity. Those who knew him well weren't surprised by his actions. But at a time when the country was still healing from deep divisions, the image of the controversial boxing champion responding to criticism with kindness rather than anger resonated deeply. For Sophia Wilson, that day marked the beginning of a lifelong transformation. Years later, she would establish a foundation providing educational opportunities for children from low-income families, naming it the Champion Spirit, in honor of the man who taught her that true strength comes not from defeating others, but from lifting them up. In his autobiography, published years later, Ali would write about this encounter, saying, "Of all my fights, all my victories, the moment with that brave little girl in Louisville might be the one that mattered most. She reminded me why I fought in the first place, not just for titles, but for dignity, for justice, for a world where even those with the least can stand tall and speak their truth." If you've made it this far and felt every word, don't leave without subscribing. I tell these stories with my heart in my hand to reach people like you who feel, who get emotional, who live. If this truly touched you, give back. Comment, subscribe. Come be part of this family with me until the next video.